Okay, so today we're talking about our boy Naruto Uzumaki. To give an idea of just how crazy strong and amazing Naruto's potential is when he reaches his maximum output, he went from creating a dud of a shadow clone, something that you can't even pass, to the multi-shadow clone jutsu in which he created multiple. Just for an example of how wide the gap he was from the other traditional Genins already at this point with a rage boost, it only takes 3 shadow clones for you to pass and become a Genin. Naruto is always clowned on for being stupid, but by no means is he a dummy. Look at this plan and what he does with his shadow clones, in which he knows just from his first fight with Gaara and seeing this form for the very first time in a short amount of time, he knows exactly what to do. He uses 1,000 years of death at the kunai to target the back of the tail, which is the weakest point on Gaara's semi-Shikaku form. I know it's kind of become this joke where Naruto can't do anything without Kurama, but as we can see, just from using his chakra alone, he creates plenty of shadow clones that absolutely shocks Sasuke and Gaara. And not just that, but these shadow clones whoop on Gaara so bad that he has to transform into his full Shikaku mode just to deal with Naruto in base. On top of all this, Naruto is able to summon Gamabunta, who himself is able to fight off Shikaku and is able to transform into a duplicate copy of the nine-tailed fox. Naruto knew instantly how to deal with Gaara's Shikaku playing possum ability. It wasn't even until way later on in the fight when Naruto even had to draw upon even just a little bit of the Nine-Tails chakra. Naruto is able to successfully get the W against Gaara. So for as strong as Sasuke's Chidori is, any feats he has in part 1, you should directly compare to Naruto's Rasengan and assume that he can do the same if not better. As we can see in this comparison, Naruto's Rasengan is much more impressive than Sasuke's Chidori. Even in part 1, Naruto is extremely powerful, as with the Kurama chakra, he's able to stop Orochimaru's summoning Manda. Naruto is fast enough to be able to easily whack on Haku, and Haku being somebody who is directly compared to being strong as, if not stronger than Zabuza, who Zabuza himself was able to give Kakashi a run for his money, meaning that Naruto, when he has these huge power amps when in the Kurama mode, is likely Jonin level or at least relativistic. Especially when it comes to speed, Haku is one of the fastest out there with his ice mirror techniques. Something to be noticed that when Naruto has just a little bit of Kurama's chakra, he's able to easily outmatch Haku, blow for blow, speed for speed. Naruto has some insane hacks resistance. The 8 trigram 64 palms would normally shut down literally 99.9999999% of anybody's chakra, making them completely useless and unable to move. But luckily with Naruto, he's able to move because he's able to call on Kurama's chakra, which gives him crazy hacks to just pretty much shrug off Genkai's. Naruto's long as fucking punctured, but unfortunately for Sasuke, Naruto has some crazy regeneration, so even if you stab him, shoot him, whatever, he can heal almost instantaneously. Naruto is by no means a dummy, as he's able to trick Zabuza and free Kakashi. He does so by using Demon Wind Shuriken, and it turns out that the second Shuriken that Zabuza dodges is a shadow clone, which is able to throw a kunai from Zabuza's blind spot. Naruto's shadow clones become so good that they're indistinguishable from regular Naruto in terms of chakra, and Neji is unable to distinguish even with the use of the Byakugan. Furthermore, Neji is considered a genius even amongst his peers like Shikamaru, and Naruto is able to outsmart him and beat him. Just as so this isn't a one-time thing, Naruto is once again able to use his shadow clones to trick an enemy into believing that that's the real Naruto. Naruto, using just his one-tailed form, pushes Sasuke to have to fully rely on the curse mark and uses 3-Tomo Sharingan just to barely scoot by with a win. This fight, if you do it 10 out of 10 times, is not going to favor Sasuke every single time. It's also worth mentioning that just by record of having a Biju, Naruto is able to resist most types of genjutsu, and even if he is caught in genjutsu, the Nine Tails can actually bring him out of it so long as the Nine Tails chooses to do so. That doesn't mean he's immune completely. There are times when Naruto has been fucked by genjutsu. It's just something worth mentioning. Naruto's Rasengan is so powerful that it damn near kills Kabuto. Kabuto instantly starts healing even before Naruto uses the Rasengan and connects with him. And Kabuto was able to swap hands with Tsunade. Granted, Tsunade was nerfed due to his psychological trauma, but nonetheless, Kabuto is no joke. He's at least in part 1 comparable to Kakashi, and Naruto almost took him out with one blow. It's always good to compare feats from other characters to Naruto to sort of give an idea of how good he is, especially if he beats them out in different categories. So, for example, just to show how crazy fast characters in Part 1 Naruto really are, Gaara is able to block, as a little baby hatchling, point-blank explosion, just on pure reaction. So even if you just assume that this was just a plain explosion, there was no specialty or anything to it, to be able to do something like that, you would have to have a speed around Mach 29. And just back to the point of how crazy Naruto is in comparison to everybody else. So even when Gaara was fighting Sasuke, or Sasuke was fighting any of the previous people, you have to at least add on that he's 10 times more powerful than he was in any of his previous fights in Part 1, given that the Curse Mark Stage 2 increases your power overall by 10 times. So another thing worth mentioning is that Sasuke's Chidori is based on the Valkyrie, which is something Kakashi used to cut a lightning bolt in half. Now, am I saying that Kakashi and Sasuke are relativistic in speed at this point? No, I'm not really saying that. But it's worth mentioning that the Chidori is mentioned to be based on the Valkyrie, and that increases Sasuke's speed. And again, then you add on the 10 times multiplier of Curse Mark. But what is worth noting is that Choji is stated to be able to expand at the speed of lightning. Add on to the fact that Kidomaru's last arrow that he shot at Neji reaches the speed of lightning, and that Sasuke and Naruto pretty significantly scale above Neji and the others, especially by the time of Valley at the end. And you get a pretty significant argument that they are at least lightning speed. Kid Naruto's chakra reserves are so incredibly vast that adult Neji facing off against Kisame goes as far as to say that Kisame is the first person that Neji has ever seen with such vast chakra reserves. And you got to think that Neji's Byakugan allows him to see the chakra pools of everybody. So, hypothetically speaking, when he came across Kakashi or all these other people, they didn't have nearly the amount of chakra that Naruto does. It's just as a kid alone. That's what Neji was basing it off. That's what he was comparing it to. Zabuza goes as far as to say that Naruto's chakra is well beyond anything Kakashi could ever muster.